Or not?
No,
Okay, I
it'll
didn't
record
think it did.
online.
Okay.
As long as I don't do it. Okay, we're good.
Good morning and welcome to Granville. This is the State of Michigan High School VEX Championship. We have quite a full slate today. I believe we have 40 teams. So we will be starting. What you're watching right now are our practice matches. So we're really not going to be calling the practice matches. This is just the teams getting used to the fields, having, they've never played on these fields while they played on the same type of fields. These fields, were just put together, and they want to get the feel for the differences between what they're used to and what these fields are. So, plus, it's early in the morning. They want to get a little practice in before they try driving and going straight for the state championship. So, welcome, and we will watch some of the practice matches for a little while, and then we'll come back and let you know what is going on and when the qualification matches begin.
tell teams what's happening on the field. That's up to the teams to figure that out. A lot of the times when there's bigger crowds and everything, you get a lot of the play-by-play, but what I don't want to be doing is sitting here saying, oh my gosh, that tower is blue. Blue now has 3 rows. Oh, red needs to do that. That's me telling the red team what to do. So you'll see us starting and stopping the field, but we're going to be pretty quiet through that. On the broadcast, they will be back here, but we did this yesterday. It worked great. They really can't hear them, so we're not going to be even giving them a countdown. It's up to the teams to figure out. They've obviously got monitors on the field. They have the big ones in the back that they can turn and look at as well. So we put that more on the teams. We don't want to be accused of directing a certain team or an outcome of that. So we'll start and stop the field. Somehow we'll be announcing the score. I think it's going to be shown right after the auton of the next match. We do have to kind of move a little bit quickly, so it's good that we're going to start a little bit early. Robot events should be updating for you that have phones. There is free Wi-Fi here. We'll show the rankings and the skills up here. The 4 skills fields are in back. The skills will be run all day. They do have some designated times. We're trying something a little bit different today. So I think we have a great referee crew, so we're going to be able to do this pretty easy.
We got people from Michigan State and
All right, good morning and welcome back. This is the state. This will be the first match of the State of Michigan VEX High School Championship. So a quick confirmation. Somebody noticed something on the field. So this will be, we will move match to match very quickly. All right, on the first One of the both blue teams cycle their corners. One of the red teams, let's see if they get all 3 in. Can the other blue team get it in? They do. All right, the red finished their home row, and so did the blue, but the blue cycled out a bunch of balls, so they will have the autonomous advantage. So those win points come in, they will come in place very much for rankings. So you will see that will probably be the difference when you see those top flight teams at the or when they are picking teams. And we're back. Let's see what we get. All right. So the red team dives over to the blue side. The blue team dives over to the red side. And they are changing them fast and furious. So you can see they can carry, some of these robots will carry 2 or 3 balls depending on the design. But there is 3 of them are what we call the combine harvester type because of those spinning wheels they have that kind of throw the ball up and in. Then there's one that's more of a what we call a lifter. It's kind of a combination. And that one's a little different design. So this one's pretty close right now. So you'll see these towers probably every about 3 or 4 seconds. You'll see somebody change a tower over. So it can be pretty hard to understand exactly what they're doing. The basic game is a big game of tic-tac-toe played with your robots. So how fast? It's the whole goal. You're scoring, you get 1 point per ball in a tower. You control the tower. You have the highest ball in the tower, but you have to be below the level of that top ring. And then that tallest ball decides if you own the tower, you form a row. Each row is worth 6 points. Autonomous is worth 6 points. And the balls themselves are worth 1 point. So right now I'm looking at this field. There is a lot of blue rows. Red is going to have to break a couple of them. Red just broke the center. That's good, unfortunately for them. As we end, red has 2 towers, so they got the blue. So we will switch over to match number 2 on field 2. All right, and autonomous is starting. So blue team so far just missed a corner. They got 1 corner and they missed another. So red was able to get 2 towers. So we'll count out. They're going to count balls and see how many, as neither has control of a row, and see what they get. So they're adding it up and finding out what they get. Looks like red autonomous win. All right, so we've got it back. So we're still figuring out. You'll hear some occasional sounds come over the speakers from the robots. You can jam some numbers in and things happen. So now you're seeing these teams all cycling fields pretty quickly. The red team 80-31F, I forgot how much that one you'll see it pop the ball out of the air. They actually kind of bounce up and over. So it's interesting. A lot of them, they have to be very close in order to change over. So it's a little different that theirs shoots up. They can actually be a little further away. Right now, red's in a much better position as it goes, so blue's got to make up for it. One of the blue robots, 80-31, is struggling a little bit getting the ball high enough. So it's not quite coming out full speed out of their robot. So that could cause a problem. They're going to have to get that figured out today. See, it just misses. As they're at that field in front of the referee, head ref for this field. So their partner's throwing them in pretty quick, but it doesn't really matter. And they're even struggling getting that middle tower. That middle tower is a little more difficult for some teams, depending on how it goes. All right, right now, red is in pretty good control right now. So blue's got a lot of work to do in the final 18 seconds. So what can they do to catch up? They've got a couple. They've ended up with a few. The key is to break rows. Like I said, if you can keep control of a row. And their teammates got it figured out what they're doing now. I don't know if I see any rows. They're touching, so there's something to look at. If you are touching a ball, it will not count. All right, so we will go over to match 3. Oh, got to get the right one. All right, so this is going to be flying this morning, so let's see who wins on this one.
There you go. Got it?
All right, so they're having a discussion right now. They're trying to see what's going on. So sometimes if the computer has something funny happen, we'll see what happens. So they're having a bit of a discussion now. And it looks like something went wrong. So they are going to have to reset the field, reset up their robots, and start over. So sometimes that happens where you'll get something weird that happens with computer glitch. So with the connection. So each of these robots is their own computer, obviously. And then they tie in through the field, and then they tie into a computer that runs everything. So if there's any delay or anything that happens between any of those connections, you can cause something strange to happen. It's not very common, but as we're going to have 82 qualification matches, we're probably going to have this happen at least once or twice today. So we'll try, and if we find out what it is, I'll try and say what happened. And there we go. There's a little bit of a display showing what was the final score of match number 2. And they're still getting set up. All right, it looks like we are back and about ready to go. All right, they are ready. They're going to run, and we'll see what happens. And nope.
Wow.
So, and I forgot to say, there's also iPads that tie into it also.
There we go.
So you've got iPads connected too. So if one thing doesn't connect right, it stops everything. All right, right now Red's got 2 towers. Red's going for the second middle tower, and they've got it. Blue goes for the middle tower. They've got it. So both teams, a win point, basically it counts like you got a win. So when you get your percentages later in the end, it will bump you up. 2 teams are 5-1. Whoever has, but one of them has 3 win points and the other has 2, that one with 3 will move to the top. All right, Blue won the autonomous. So you see those 6 points there on the bottom, and that star means that they did indeed get a win point. So that's very important here, and you'll see how important later on when it comes to the rankings. So right now, see both teams trying to trade off. You get some blues trading off red side. Red teams moved over to blue. In this game this year, you don't see a lot of defense like you have in previous teams. And that's because if somebody's playing defense, that means the other 2 teams have 2 robots on offense, and they're going to put up a lot more, probably very quickly. So with a lot of the designs, it's hard to do enough defense to actually be effective. All right, Blue's trying to take it over. You can see on that tower in the middle left, the ball is kind of jammed all the way in the back. So it's actually hard to get a hold of it. So Red might, just because of that fact, be able to keep control of that tower. So we'll see what happens. So you see they just kind of knock those balls all out, and then they throw them in. So that was well done. So the one red team, I have never seen a robot that does that. It's got kind of a flipper that whacks the balls in, and then it goes and it just lifts up and dumps the ball over top. So they can almost reach over a robot. So I've never seen a design like that this year. So that's very different.
Okay.
Oh, one of the robots is able to, they were finally able to knock that ball out of that tower there on the left middle. And now blue has that one too. So right now, blue's got a bit of an advantage. They've got the autonomous. So remember, that autonomous is worth a row. I can't see what's behind the one robot, so I'm not sure. And we are switching over to field one. All right, on field one, blue teams get 2 in. Red team with a very dangerous move because you cannot cross that white center line, but they pick one of the red balls up. So red was able to complete their row, so there's an auton point, and they won autonomous. So that, again, will be, that win point will play a huge in the role later on. 39R from Cranbrook. It looks like they got, originally they kind of spun out when they tried to do the autonomous, so, but they've been making up for it now as they're quickly cycling it. Their teammate threw one out of the field, so they got to go get that ball. So we'll see what happens.
They're quick showing us the scores from the last match.
Oh, we have the score from the last match, so that's on the field now.
Steve, there's a ball from that field.
So one of the other referees is getting that ball. So I think the referee's in the field. Oh, and one of the teams is jammed up on, they're kind of got themselves high centered. They got up on the part. So can their teammate, oh, their opponent actually helped them out. They backed into them and fixed them. So that was very nice of them. I don't know if that was intentional or not, because quite honestly, they probably didn't want to do that. So again, red will have that, with that autonomous advantage, they really need to break rows because they've got a 6-point advantage right off the bat before anything happens. So right now, seeing a pretty even tower count. So my guess is red just wants to make sure no one gets a row. That's going to be their goal. Either they get a row or no one does. That's all red wants to do. So you'll see how important those corner towers are for that, because just like tic-tac-toe, you get the corner, you take care of, you're covering 3 rows that can't be scored just like that. So we are down to our final 10 seconds, and let's see what happens. You're going to see a lot of chaos. So red team is kind of blocking a few things. They wanted that center because there's so many controlled by it, but blue cannot knock out that center red row, that center red tower. So I see at least 2 red rows, and we're going to switch over. Well, nope, they're not quite ready. We'll be switching over to field 2 very quickly once they are ready to go, so we can try and get an idea on the score. But there's a lot of red towers over there. In fact, it looks like red has all but 1. So red will have won that row. So we will go over to field 2.
Someone hit my field on camera again.
I think it's from them walking out.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll fix it if it gets bad.
Yep.
All right. I thought he was going to set it up.
All right, looks like we are ready to go. I believe this is qualification match number 5. I'm not totally sure, but I believe it. I'm getting the thumbs up that this is indeed number 5. Oh, and the red team here just popped it over. All right, so we got that figured out, we think. So looks like blue's at a little bit of an advantage on this one. So red's trying to make it up at the end. So that was interesting that it drove a little after the rest of them. So, but we will be switching over to field number 3 as they should be starting any second now.
Here's my key. Ice cam is field 3.
All right.
Because they get discombobulated pretty quickly.
All right, let's see what happens on autonomous. Blue misses on both of those top ones. Red does cycle. Red cycles the top and the bottom. Now can they get that middle tower? Oh, but they fed the blue back in it. So it looks like no one got the win and it's a ball count. Red with the advantage. Red finishes up that center one they were just in front of, so they kind of back a ball into the tower. They tried, oh, there it goes in. So rather than trying to cycle it in, they just push it. It works really well sometimes. So blue is over to the red side cycling towers. Red's on the blue side cycling towers. So although you've got 3 robots over on the blue side, and you'll see that design that blue has in that they actually trap 2 red balls. And so they will sit in that robot the entire match. So now red's got to pay attention to that fact because they are actually down a couple robots or a couple balls on the field. So that makes it a little more interesting for them. So they're going to go grab some extra. So they can't, their goal is going to be to just take over the top spot and not worry about whether they have 3 in a tower or even 2 in a tower. They just want to make it such that they get the top 1 in each tower. So it's kind of a different way of looking at it. It's kind of a different design. You don't see many that will have the room or take the room up in order to hold 2 of their opponent's balls in their robot. Right now, red's got a little bit of advantage. They're trying not to talk to each other so that they don't both go for the same tower. But you're seeing red playing a little defense now because they're like, we're going to play defense on you. So no one has that center tower anymore. Red just spun out. Blue's trying to go for it. Uh-oh, red just fell over. So what happens here in the final 1 second? They play enough defense so they don't let the blue team get that corner. And we are switching over to field number 1. All right, field number 1. Let's see what happens in autonomous. Blue gets 1, 2 balls, and they spit one out. Looks like they completely emptied the tower, unfortunately, so they will not. That kind of hurt them. I don't see what red did. So I think red will have autonomous win when they come back. Neither team will get a win point. So we should be getting driver control here soon. Red is indeed win the auton. So now blue is going to catch up. And they just missed, but red gets a hold of another tower. And they quickly get that middle. Their blue teammate was able to get one, so now you're seeing a lot of cycling by red. And they do totally cycle it out. And another. Oops, red ended up, sometimes they cycle so fast, like they're on that bottom right corner, they threw in a blue on top of it. So now they throw a red in, and then they get out and take the blue with them. You've got 2 teams fighting for that corner up the top right. Blue ends up taking it over. So the red team just moved on to another tower. So their blue partner's trying to get that middle bottom one out, and they get it out. So and now you're seeing the red team, they're trying to move away from each other because that's one of the keys. You don't want to have both your teams working on the same tower. So the red teams are kind of walking their way around. You'll see some different robots out here. One of the red towers or red robots, you'll see it goes forwards and backwards and turns, but then all of a sudden it'll slide sideways. So they've got some pretty different drivetrains here, which give you completely different functions depending on what they do. Oh, that's the first time I've seen that red team really miss a tower.
How's it going? Good. How about
So then blue moves in right behind him, controls that tower, but then they kind of go behind him and grab a different one. Red's got, oh, and red had that ball spin out of the tower, so now they've got to figure out how to get it in there. And there it stays. Blue's trying to work on that bottom right, and they did change it out. So red's got the autonomous advantage, so that's a big advantage. And one, red gets a row, I can see. And at least 2 rows, but no one's got that middle. All right, we will switch over to field 2 and get ready to go. Welcome back. So we'll see if they're touching. Red was not touching on the bottom. The blue robot was touching on the top right. That gives red the autonomous. All right, so let's see what happens. So that you'll see that top corner or the left, your left side, there's that red ball sitting on above the level of the tower. That actually doesn't count. So we'll see if somebody grabs that ball. It just makes it a little more interesting to change that field out. All right, just like that. Red's got a pretty good lead right now. So what can blue do to make up for it? Blue cycled a tower, but they left the 2 reds in it. So that's kind of an interesting thing. So that, I don't think, worked how they planned on it. So 244A is kind of deciding where they're going. So they do go over, then they cycle it out. Now they do flip it over, and they're going for another. They're picking up a ball, and they miss. So their partner decides, I'm going to empty that ball out of the middle because I don't want it in there. But in the meantime, the blue has taken over another tower, but red immediately runs over and takes it back. So blue does get another. So red is quickly changing both over. So they're trading back and forth, but unfortunately for blue, they're a little bit behind. So, but blue did now maintain and get a grab that center tower. You got 30 seconds, and again, you'll see a lot of changes in the last few seconds. So you will be shocked by how fast these teams change control, how fast these fields are changed. Red snuck one in by pushing it in, but then the robot threw it in, and then they took it over anyways. So 15 seconds, what happens? Can somebody get that center tower? No, no one's got it. What are they going to do? Do they play defense? Do they red just throws one in that says, nope, we're not doing that. Now they're trying to play some defense, but they were too slow. Blue did indeed take that middle tower, but red has at least 2 rows. We're switching over to field 3 right away. All right, just in time for the start of autonomous field 3. So obviously we are running these back to back to back. We have 3 fields, and there are 2 head refs, and there's a referee on every field in addition to the head refs. blue with the autonomous. Now that top right, it looks like red is on top, but that top red ball does not count because that's a third ball, or that's above that tower. So you're seeing, let's see what happens. All 4 teams are on the red side. Now one of the red teams goes over to the blue side. One of the blue teams is kind of stuck, or red teams is kind of struggling. Oh, the one blue team's just kind of getting in the way. Then they get in and they quickly take control of the tower. So they're almost following that red robot around, pulling them out, swapping them out. So they're seeing what they can do. So sometimes you will see balls go flying out of the field of play. The referees will quickly try and grab them because they don't want a scoring element out. So they want to make sure everyone's got their elements in the field that they can score with. So the 2 blue robots kind of bounce into each other and decide, oh, wait, we'll move out of here. The one red robot's doing a good job of de-scoring quickly. Unfortunately, they've got to do some scoring. So, because right now, blue has a big advantage. And another field ball out of the field. So that happens quite a bit, you're noticing. So a little bit of clicking noises coming from one of the robots. Oh, and they just miss, and they, unfortunately for them, throw it out of the field. See the referee quickly throw it in. In the meantime, their partner threw another red ball out of the field, so they were trying to take a tower over, and unfortunately all they did was throw a ball out of the field. So red throws one in, and then they're going to try and block and hold that tower, and they do play the defense. Oh, but not good enough defense as the blue takes a hold of it. 1 second, can they back away? They do, so they are not touching it. And it looks like blue will have that. There are 3 blue rows, and blue had the autonomous. So that looks like they will have the advantage. They're still setting up on field 1, so we'll stay here for a little bit to see what they get. So we're waiting for one of the teams on field number 1 for match number 10. So we'll see what the final score is for match number 9. It looks like blue will have the win. A final score, we'll see what we get for it in a minute. We'll try and flash that up in a few seconds. But you'll see them what they'll do is they'll spit out any balls they may have stuck in their robots. I think she just left with a robot. Can't tell if she has a ball in her robot. Nope, she doesn't. Okay. All right, now we've got the final robot coming for match number 10 on field number 1. So we'll switch over to that. So we'll see what's going on if we get that team back out to the field. So we've got radios and other stuff, but sometimes they're delayed. They get us so much time. I believe they can even call 1 timeout for the qualification. But if they do not show up, they will not play, and they will get no credit regardless of what their teammate does. So it's a big disadvantage going 1-on-2. It's especially at the state level. I don't care how good you are, your chances of winning are very, very, very low. So hopefully this team comes back so that they can play. It looks like one of their teammates is at the field. Their robot's not here. Their team's here. You've got one team member here. They're going to go. So it'll be 2-on-1. So that is a very, very big disadvantage for 38053B. Actually, they are at the field, so they would, if their teammate manages to win, they will get the win point. Unfortunately for Autonomous, it looks like their teammate missed. One of the red robots got one ball in, they got a second ball in, and their teammates descored the blue, but they can't get one in, so they will not get a win point, but they will win Autonomous. All right, so blue with their work cut out for them with down the Autonomous and 2-on-1. This will be interesting. One of the red robots is struggling to get the ball high enough to actually go into the top of the tower. So we'll see what they do in this match. They change their strategy to just kind of shove them in or not, what they're going to do. So a little bit of pushing and shoving. You'll see these robots do that a lot. You don't see as much defense as you have in the past years, but you will see them moving each other out of the way. So just kind of more general shoving than you will see trying to play actual defense. So, and just like that, they do on that bottom right corner, you saw that red team change that tower over. So right now, red is in pretty good condition. They have every tower right now. Blue's trying to change it over. So we are at 45 seconds. And blue will have a lot of work to try and make up for it. So this will be very tough for them. Anytime you're a 2-on-1, you're going to struggle. So the other teams decided, since they've got every tower, they're going to try and play a little defense. You saw the referee swinging his arm. And you notice he kept counting. He started back at 3, and that was because you have to be away for 5 seconds to reset that count. So they're just going to get in the way, probably block him a little bit in the final 10 seconds. They're waiting for him to score. Then can they just... Blue team said, forget it. I'm just going to try and make it so you can't take it back. And they do descore another, but red takes one of them right back. We're switching over to field 2 right now. Match number 11. Let's see what we get. Oh, both red robots have a misfire. Both blue robots have gotten the corner. Can the other blue robot get the center? It was not able to. There, red was able to cycle out and get one ball. So this will be a ball count, actually, because they broke rows. So they've got to count. But because they cycled everything out, it will hurt them. They're only +1 red versus the other side, they're +2 blue. And there was the referee with blue winning Autonomous. So now red's got to make up. Again, it's 6 points for it, for that Autonomous win. Blue quickly taking over 2 towers. Red quickly taking over 2 towers. So you'll watch these teams, and some will go clockwise, some will go counterclockwise, some just kind of go every which way. So it depends on what works best for their driver, how they're thinking, what their teammates. You'll see up in the box, you'll generally have at least 2 team members. Most bring 3, because if you're here, why wouldn't you be up here if you're allowed 3 teams? So you'll have a driver, you'll have what's called a drive coach, and then quite often the third person doesn't have a lot to do, but what they can do is watch the overall field. So if the drive coach and the driver are focusing on one thing, they can really look at the strategy more overall and try and fix things from that standpoint. So there's that robot that traps 2 balls. So it traps those blue balls because they are red this time. So that reduces the number of blue balls on the field, which is a disadvantage for the blue team, obviously. If you don't have as many balls on the field, you got to go grab them out of a tower maybe. So right now, blue's doing pretty well, a little bit of pushing and shoving. So blue takes another tower back, red takes another tower, red takes another tower. So they basically are trading sides as they go and get towers. Now, can anybody get that center in the last 7 seconds? Everyone's 3, 2, 1. Blue gets another. Quite a few, and we'll be switching over to field 3 for match number 12. All right, let's see what we get. Oh, the blue team just misses that center tower. The red team gets 2 in, but unfortunately their teammates spun it out, and now they're going for that middle, and it does not get the middle. So we will see what the ball count is, because red cycled 1. So even though blue added 2, red was able to add 1, but they cycled, so they did pretty well. So they added 2 technically and removed a blue. They're doing a final count, and so everyone's counting, and they're like, yep. So they're confirming the count. One of the teams asked for a confirmation. They were double checking. They're counting again. So if you look at it, the red is +3 on their side. The blue is +2 on theirs. So red by 1. So, and that's something the teams should do. They should ask. If they're not sure, ask the referees. You don't want to miss a point at this point, because that is 6 points, and you don't want to start in the hole because you forgot to ask a question. All right, there we go. We're going live. So quickly, you'll see that one red robot, instead of changing towers, they just quickly grabbed 3 red balls, and now they're driving over. That way they don't have to really cycle. They're just going to throw them in and not worry about it. So they're trying to shove one in that center. They just back right in and throw that in there. They kind of bumped that blue team out of the way and went and picked up another red ball. So now their partner grabs, their partner's cycling, and they're pulling their blue ball out at the same time. Partner walks over and throws one in the red. The blue team had gone and just completely took care of their home side. So that's where it gets interesting, as you watch these robots go around each other, and that's one of those things where communication is so important. If the red team's wasting time on a robot, on a tower they already have, so that red robot is throwing a red ball on a tower they already own. So while it's nice to have that ball in, that ball's only worth 1 point, versus a tower is very important, as that can get you 6. So right now they're going for, unfortunately for them, they're kind of going for towers they already own, and they're just adding balls on top, and that could bite red later, as it's just a matter of using your time wisely. You've only got, you heard that, or you probably didn't hear that bell, but there was a bell on the field, and that told them they've got 30 seconds left. So we're at about 20 seconds right now, actually 14. So they do not have time to just throw red balls on top. They've got to get some corners. They've got to get some towers. You want to have, they might play a little defense, and they do block a bit, but I see a blue row, so that will change it off. Oh, we're switching over to field number 1 already. All right, you're watching Autonomous. Let's see what we can get. Blue just misses. Their partner does indeed get one in. They're trying for the middle, but they can't grab it, so unfortunately they knocked out there. And oh, they did get it. That helped a lot. I can't see red, though. Red got the home row, though, so that will mean that they will get a win point and an autonomous point, which is the win points. You see that little star there on the bottom of the screen. So blue's got to make up for that. So blue shoved one in, and red immediately shoved one from their side, and that knocked their blue ball out of that center tower. That was well done by both teams. So again, it's using what your robot can do. So you're seeing these teams follow each other around. Maybe they're playing a little bit of defense. Maybe they're not playing defense. They're trying to go where they can score. So that's what you're seeing, is they are diving around, changing field, changing things out. These robots are all pretty fast. These drivers are very experienced by this point in the year. So sometimes it's actually an advantage not to get all the balls out of the tower. So we'll see what they do. And the one red team is still struggling getting those out. And they did get it in there. Their teammate threw another in very quickly. And they got a little The blue team playing some perfect defense on the red team there. They've got that little flap there to guide their ball in when it comes out of their robot, while it also works really well to block a goal from somebody else trying to score. So you're seeing good driving, good changing over. Right now, red's got a little bit of a tower advantage, and we're under 30 seconds. Can red make up for that, or blue make up for that tower advantage that red's currently showing? So red just missed on a corner. They threw a ball out of the field. You see that someone waved it down to the official to say, hey, we lost it. All right, it's looking a little more even. We're at 6 seconds. Can somebody score? Who can take over that center tower? It looks like blue's got it. Blue got a row, but we're going to change over to field number 2. So there's a quick showing of our rankings. And now we're back for the autonomous. See, red threw one on top. They tried to throw another one on top, but it's actually sitting on top. They didn't quite pull the other ball out. So now do they get it? And they do pull it out. Red completing their home row for a win point. So it looks like we have 2 Granville teams on the red side and 2 teams from Traverse City on the blue side. So a little bit interesting, just the way the brackets broke, in that we've got teammates with each other going against each other. So that adds a little bit to this match. So both teams are quickly trying to feed balls and change it over. Some are better at different towers than others. So they will change, and then maybe they struggle from a certain angle. So you're seeing both teams are very good at throwing balls over the top. One goes out, the referee quickly throws it in. So they're kind of following each other along, a little bit of pushing, a little bit of shoving. They're going to come in here and try and score quickly, and they do. Red's got quite a few towers right now. Blue just missed on one. It actually rolled up and out. So there they go. They fire it up. So they have a little more interesting technique in that the ball doesn't go just barely over for the 8458A. It actually pops up in the air and kind of bounces in. So it's interesting in that it launches itself. So the red actually got caught. They've got that little deflector to have it go in, but they backed away too soon and they actually stopped the ball from going in. All right, we're at 24 seconds. Red's got a bit of an advantage right now in towers, but blue just took over 2 towers really quick. Red just cycled one all the way through, and unfortunately they put a blue in for control. So now they're trying to fix that. And 6 seconds left. Blue goes to try and get that center red ball out, and they do right at the last second. I don't see any rows, so that autonomous is going to be very critical for red. So it's a ball count, but red had autonomous, so that's 6 points, and we will be... They are still setting up on field number 3, so we can make sure a little bit. We'll see if I get a call on what the final score is or who won. It looks like red won. I don't have a score, but we'll be switching over to field number 3. All right, we're back. Looks like we're ready to go. This is field number 3. This is match number 15. And in this match, we have 244B and 38053B on the red side. On the blue side, we have 3547A and 74485B on the blue side. Looks like red only got one in. They shoved one in the bottom. Blue completed their row, so they will get the win point. And we'll come back. There was the score from the previous round. So blue quickly cycles it through. Actually, red cycles that one you were looking at, that bottom right corner. Their teammate cycled another in also. Blue gets it into the middle, and then they drive to the side to pick up a ball. So you see they just grabbed the ball and they went away because they already own that tower. They didn't want to waste time on it. So they quickly threw one in that other side to get control of that tower. Red's driving around trying to change a couple over. You see 3 robots kind of jammed up there. The red robot here on your bottom left just swings in to pick up a ball. But in the meantime, the blue got another. They're driving over. There's got a bunch of red balls over here because the blue team had de-scored all of them. And red's having a little bit of issue in that they're spinning the balls out. So you'll see that sometimes they actually impart so much spin that it'll pull themselves right out of the tower. So you see them race across the field. There's a couple parts on the field. You'll see quite a few parts throughout the day on the field, as it turns out. So now they're struggling finding the red balls. The red team's trying to find some to throw it in. That's why that one robot that has, it actually traps 2 of their opponent's balls. That works pretty well because there's just 2 less balls on the field for them to use. So we are at 15 seconds. Let's see what happens. How fast can people change stuff over? Can they get, this is where it's tic-tac-toe. You want to get those corners. You want to form a row. How fast can you form a row? Red at the last second does indeed throw a row together on their home side. That will put them in very good shape. I think they might have 2 rows even. I can't see from over here. My vantage point, there's a robot, blue robot blocking that one right in front of the referee on the right. So we will go over to match 16 on field number 1. As they are ready to begin, let's see what happens. You see that little flip top works for red. Blue gets the corner, blue gets the middle, and they just miss on the other corner. And their opponents, the red, gets that win point, which is so important. And they did get the autonomous, which is an additional 6 points. So that is very important for them. The one blue team looks like they're struggling a little bit to get their robot to eject the balls out of the top. So they just shoved one in the bottom after they pulled everything else out. So now they're kind of stuck together. So they're playing a little bit of defense, which you got to be careful with. They can't quite get their combine to spin them out the top. So they're just going to knock balls out of the bottom and see what happens. Red throws one out of the field. Referee quickly grabs it and sets it back in the field of play. So the one red team had actually cycled the tower, but it left the blue in there. Now they fix that. Now blue is going around, but the one blue team again is struggling. They can't get the balls to eject out of the top. So they've got to empty the entire tower, move back, go back, and then put a blue ball in, which unfortunately takes a whole lot more longer. So their teammates trying to make up for it, and they're going for corners, trying to break it. Unfortunately for them, they've got it. Blue team has to get rows because, again, red had autonomous, so there's a 6-point advantage right to begin with. Red looks to have the definite advantage in this one. So we'll see what happens here in the final 15 seconds. Blue's trying to make up for it. So hopefully that blue team can get back to the pits and they can fix their robot, figure out why it's doing that. 5 seconds left. Can they get another tower to break a row? They're trying desperately and they can't do it. Red looks like they will have the win on that one, but we'll wait for the official scores. Actually, we won't. We'll switch over to field 2 because they're going. All right, just like that. Red gets one in each corner. Blue gets one in the corner. Blue gets another in the corner. Blue's trying to get that middle, but can they get it? Red gets the middle. Blue just misses. Oh, red gets the autonomous and the win point. All right, so blue's got to go again. They got to see what they can do. So again, you've got 3 of the combine types, 3 of the other, one of the more of a lifter robot, and with a conveyor belt attached to it. So there's so many balls in the tower here. He's actually stuck on it a little bit. So you've got the 2 red team are kind of fighting for the same tower. So that slowed them down. Oh, actually the one was getting it and the other red team was getting a ball out. So the blue team was driving around in the meantime and kind of clearing out. I don't know why they're adding a ball on top of a tower they already have, but the blue team did. In the meantime, the red team grabs another. So blue team throws one in. Red team red team threw it in. Blue team followed them right up and dropped it right on top of them. So you see that quite occasionally where they'll try and do that. So they were driving around. I'm not sure why the blue team's more worried about getting all the reds out on some of them. I'm not sure why. It seems like kind of a waste, but that's their strategy. Can red take advantage of it? Blue's trying, and they quickly grab another. Blue grabs another. Red grabs a corner, because those corners are so important for breaking rows. So that blue team's trying to make sure. So you see they went away from a couple towers because red had grabbed one just so they can get it, and they do indeed with 1 second left. I see 1 blue row. Looks like blue has 2 rows, so they might have made up for the autonomous loss. We'll see. Even with the 1, it looks like blue's got an advantage in the number of balls on it. Well, maybe not. It's pretty even. So we are moving over. One of the teams is doing a little work on their robot in field number 3. So we've got a few seconds while they adjust things. Not sure what their issue is, but they're a little bit behind. So we'll go over to field 3. So you can see one of the teams has had their robot up, and it was indeed blue with 28-16 win on that match. Not sure which match that was. I believe it was, trying to find the numbers on my field. That was qualification match number 17 right there at the top. So we are about ready, and we will switch over to field number 3 here in a second. Looks like they're still struggling a little bit with that robot. All right, now it looks like they're good to go. All right, match 18 on the red side, we have 33T and 2140H. On the blue side, we have 248E and 39K. So let's see what happens. All right, they're not quite ready. The one team member checks something, and another team member checks something else. All right, let's see what happens. So that was interesting. The red team, unfortunately, was slightly misangled. Their teammate got 2 towers, but they spit their 2 red balls out of the field. And blue managed to get their home row. So that will give blue the advantage and a win point for the Blue Alliance. One thing you'll notice is that we do ask that the teams actually put their controllers down during the autonomous. One reason is then there is absolutely no question that the robots are indeed driving themselves. It's kind of a nice way for the kids to show that, yep, they programmed them, and it shows that they don't need to touch it for it to win. So it's kind of a nice little touch that helps for the teams, and it just kind of shows off. It's a good reminder for them also, because then the referees know that they are ready to go. So you saw that blue team right across the top just ran across and filled all 3 towers in under 10 seconds. That was rather well done. So now they're trying to drive around the red team that's trying to follow them. So they immediately went back and de-scored it. The red team plays a little defense, just kind of backs into them, slows them down a bit, breaks their rhythm, but it didn't really help that much as that blue team immediately has it, and that's 248E. So now you see they just pull right up and grab it. The red team did take back that tower, and you'll see them eject that ball. So this time their teammate got another. So you've got both red teams, so lacking a little bit of communications. They both went for the same tower and kind of ran into each other. Now the blue teams are doing the same thing too. So the one blue team's looking for a ball. Both blue teams are looking for a ball. So that's why sometimes it's better not to grab it. But again, they lost that communications. They both started going for the same tower. Blue team there kind of swam over to grab an extra ball. Then they drive over and they score another. And they can't quite get that last one, but blue got a row. The red team got another. And we're switching over to field 1 really quickly. All right, we're back on field 1. Blue team cycles the tower, and they get 2 towers. Red's doing another. One of the red robots is going all the way across, and they do get all 3 towers, and they cycle them all, so they get 2 reds in each one and pull 2 blues out. Red with the win point and the red autonomous, very impressive. Oh no, and their teammate looks like they have to turn their robot on. All right. So if your robot has not moved, you are allowed to touch that robot. And there the flap almost pulls it off for 244D. So you're seeing the blue sides quickly switching a couple out. The red robot is driving and hammering a bunch of them. Their teammates got one. So that blue team on that bottom right corner is trying to pull a ball out. And there they get it so that they can get a hold of it. Unfortunately for them, it took a little bit of time. So the red team did manage to get a hold of that other one. And then the one robot, 244D, just comes right behind him and immediately takes back that tower. Oh, they turn in their spinners. And they kind of ejected the tower itself. So let's see what they can do. So this is getting to be a very good match. You're seeing these teams swap towers left and right super fast. So the one team, they're just kind of following around 244D and trying to fix what they change. So you're seeing a very fast and furious changing. So that blue team, that's the one that kind of pops that ball up, got it in that middle center. It's kind of an interesting way to eject the ball. It just kind of shoots it straight up in the air. We're at 15 seconds left. No one's got that central tower. So that'll be an interesting thing to see what happens at the last 5 seconds if you see who gets it. That red team's trying to grab a red ball, and they keep grabbing blue. So they're trying to, and they can't quite get it. Red had the autonomous, and I don't see any rows, so that puts red in a much better advantage. Red might have 1 row, it looks like. Yep, red did indeed get 1 row, so red will probably win that one. We'll see what the final score is later. We are going to come over here to field number 2. And this is qualification match number 20. On the red side, 2140J and 39R. On the blue side, 7567C and 8031E. So while 2140J out of Jenison is fixing their robot. Then we have, they're on the red, 39R. They are here from Cranbrook. On the blue side, we have 7567C. They are Pi is 3. They're out of the Grand Traverse Academy. And then the final team, 8031E, is T-Rex out of Hudsonville. All right, that previous score was for on match number 19 was indeed Red winning 21-5. All right, so and we will go. We're back on here, and there's some questions going on with the referee, and one of the teams had a question. Now they're changing something on the robot real quick. I thought they were ready to go. So the referee over here just fixes the field a little. It looks like they're ready to go. Controllers are on the ground. Oh, one of the blue teams looks like they had a little bit of issue. Now it's going. Just had to reset. One of the red teams did get a ball in. Can either of them... So by pulling some balls out, red might have the advantage, but we'll see. Yep, I'm seeing everyone point to red. All right, red does win autonomous. There is no win point on this one. All right, let's see what blue quickly changing over. They want to get that center tower they hadn't gotten on their side already. Red was able to get theirs on there. He's playing a little bit of defense, a little bit of waiting, and they spin one out of the field. So now they got to get it. They play a little bit of defense, trying to bump the team to get them not to be able to score right. It didn't work out like they thought, and they're playing a little bumping. And the issue is it's the two red robots are running into each other. So that doesn't help at all. I thought it was one team playing a little bit of defense, but it was the red teams were actually playing defense on each other. So it kind of slows them down a bit. So they're trying to fix that and do what they can to adjust. So now you got a little bit of defense. They just kind of stop and bump them, but you are seeing teams get in each other's way, which is kind of what you want to do. You might not want to play defense, but you definitely want to get in each other's way to stop the other team from scoring. So in this top right corner, that blue team's just having a little bit of struggles getting that ball to fire and line up right. So it goes out at whatever angle your robot's aimed at. Red just misses on the center. The blue teams are kind of running into each other at the same one. Red missed again on that center. But they come over to the side and they get that no problem. So you got both red teams. They finally get that center in there now. So let's see what they can do about it. We've got 10 seconds left. Let's see what happens. That center tower is now controlled by no one. 2 seconds, 1 second. 39R rolled themselves over. We'll see what happens with the score in a second. And we will go over to field 3. All right, field 3. Just at the last second, red gets 2 towers. Red gets the 3rd tower. Blue missed on 1. Their teammate cycled over, and then they pull that center tower. But unfortunately, red did get their home row. All right, let's see what happens. So blue finishes off the tower they were missed earlier, but they drive over. So they quickly go to the red side to cycle out some corner towers and that middle tower. Oh, but unfortunately blue cycled it so fast they spun our blue right back into it. So you see they've got a discharge where they can spit those out the back too. Oh, and again, that little green flap team, I can't quite see who it is. For blue. Red comes in and drops one right on top of it. So blue gets that bottom left corner. Their teammate had gotten the bottom right. Now blue decides, nope, they're going to leave that. They're leaving that center tower for the end. So right now, if you look in your top right corner, there's a blue ball that looks like it's centered, and there's a red ball that's kind of stuck on the edge. Well, that red ball was actually higher. Oh, now the red team just knocked that blue ball out, so it didn't matter at all. So down here at the bottom, you see that blue team pulling those out and cycling one in. Red tried to block off that top, but that blue team just dropped it in anyways. And they kind of shoved the red team out of the way, or the red team was going that way. Hard to tell. So red grabbed the corner. Blue's trying to get right behind them to take that corner right back, and they do, just like that. Right now I'm looking at a lot of blue towers. Red does break it up. We've got 5 seconds left. Blue just immediately took it back, and they're playing a little bit of defense. Red trying to knock out that center. That is a big score for blue. Looks like they have all but 2 on the field, so blue will win that, is my expectation, but we'll have to wait for it because that is a lot of rows. So in spite of not winning autonomous, they have the big advantage. We will swing over to field number 1. Let's see if they're ready. It looks like they are. We'll swing over to field number 1. And if I get a second, or I can grab somebody. Oh, there it is. That was that score, 60-13. So the 2 Granville teams did manage to, they worked very well together, but they've been playing all year together, so they should work pretty well together. And they did in that qualification match. Back to field 1, autonomous, and they are going. Let's see if anybody can get their home row. Blue team gets 1 in the corner. Red just misses. The blue teammate gets another in the corner. They are not on the top. They are not going for it. They're letting their blue teammate from the bottom go for it, and they are just out of alignment by about an inch. So let's see who won that one. So this could be a count. It could be a tie. I can't quite see the one corner. Oh no, it's a blue will have the advantage by the look of it. Blue does indeed get the autonomous win. No win point, no full row. So now you see those teams line up, and they will finish the home rows right there. Oh, they're having a little struggle with it getting it high enough. You see that blue team's trying to de-score, so they're going to pick it up. The one team said, I was struggling with that tower. They're moving on. Their teammate follows up and finishes it. Then the blue team is trying to get that top row. And they do knock the red ball out, and then they drop one on top. In the meantime, red has kind of gone behind them and grabbed a couple towers. Blue's looking for a ball to grab, and they find one. But in the meantime, red grabs that other corner also. So you're seeing these change very quickly, so we'll see what happens. Red has that autonomous, or blue, I'm sorry, has that autonomous advantage. So that could be very important in the end because that's 6 points. So for them, they don't want rows because they've got that big advantage of autonomous. So they prefer no rows at all. So, but unfortunately for them, red right now has got a lot of towers, and they're trying to go for that row. So that was an interesting move. Red actually just gave that one on the right over to blue because that blue ball is slightly higher because of how it's set in there. So red cycling that top left tower, and they do indeed get it. Their partner gets that top center tower, and they get that. So the blue team, even though they were right next to a tower, they looked at it 5 seconds. They wanted to hit that corner because they wanted to break rows. That's the most important thing for them to do, is to break a row. And it looks like I don't see any colors with a row. No one got a row, so that was very advantageous to blue because they had the autonomous. So again, it's that whole strategy of tic-tac-toe. If you can break those corners, that's why they were so worried about getting that corner tower up. All right, looks like we are done. They have agreed on the score. We are moving on. Qualification match number 23 here on field number 2. All right, so there is your score. The importance of autonomous right there. 6 points for autonomous gave them the win. So now we are ready for field number 2. Like the head referee said, we're going to slow it down just a hair so we can show the scores and speak the scores. Give me a few seconds to catch my breath. All right, we're on qualification match 23. We have 2140H on the red side and 8458C as their partner. On the blue, we have 3223F and 248D on the blue. Let's see what we can get. All right. Red both cycles and both get their towers. Now we're waiting to see. No one got a home row, but both red teams cycled. The blue teams look like they cycled. So on the ball count, looks like red will have an advantage. That bottom left has 3 reds. So that could be the difference right there. All right, it is indeed Vantage Red. All right, so here they go. Red starts off with the advantage on autonomous. Blue's trying to change it out quick, and they kind of do, but red does take 2 towers right back. Blue takes another tower. So this is going to be an interesting one to see how you're going to see how important autonomous can be on this one. So there they ejected one out of the field. And the referees kind of watch that because if a team is consistently throwing the other color out, they could warn them and it could become an issue later in the tournament. So it's one where you just kind of chuck them, so they probably weren't trying, but it's one where the referees will take notes, and if the same team is consistently throwing the other color ball out, they might get a warning at some point. So right now, blue's a little bit... So that time you saw the blue team throw its own ball out, which wasn't exactly what they were trying to do. So the blue team has a lot of balls and towers, and they're running around trying to pick up a ball. So red has the balls. They're trying to take control of their towers. A little bit of bumping, a little bit of blocking. Just kind of run into each other. Like I said, a lot of teams don't really play defense this year. The only time they play defense is they're just kind of in the way as they're picking up a ball or as they're grabbing one. So that team, the red team, totally cycled it. The blue team came back within 2 seconds and wiped them out. And their robot just stopped working for a second. Not sure if they lost comm or what happened to them. So then they're coming over here. They're going to try and break a row, and they do quickly. And they just had it spin out. That could be very important. As red had the autonomous, that ball spinning out of the middle would have given them a row, and that might have cost blue the match. From the head shake I'm getting from the team captain on 248D, I'm pretty sure she agrees that just cost them the match. So it looks like red will have the win. We'll see the final score here in a second. And by the reaction from the aviators, they agree that they lost that one. So again, how important that autonomous is, we'll see what we get. Indeed, red. 13-7, the difference being, so they had an even tied ball count, but that one difference, so that ball that would have dropped would have been worth 7 points, would have been a 14-13. So it shows how critical one ball can be to a match. All right, we're switching to field 3. All right, we're back. I lost my little camera that tells me what's going on this field. It's as far away from me as it can get, so I'm trying to see it from a little ways. Wow, Red, that robot just fired it off the field. Their teammates cycled the Red, and then they're trying to get that center, and they do. On the blue side, I see 2 towers, so this will be a ball count as no completed rows. No win points, but I think that Red team, they pulled 2 blues out and they added 2 red, so that will probably be the difference. So I'm seeing the referee point at that red side while he's counting. He's double checking the count. Red does indeed win the autonomous. They're picking up their controllers, so they're ready to go. Oh, my camera died. That's why.
Yep.
It ran out of juice.
Well, we had a battery on it, but the connector was out a little bit. Someone must have bumped it or something. There it goes. So we'll let them recharge up to a point.
All right, you see blue quickly take a corner, and they took that center. Oh, and they just ejected the ball instead of throwing it in that side. So now they got to pick the ball up. That blue team was having a little bit of struggle trying to get that ball out, but now they both do, and they both take 2 towers. So very quickly, you can see how fast these teams are going to cycle. The 2 red teams run into each other. Red team quickly knocks out that central one, but the red team's not communicating at all, so they both go to that same tower. Then you heard the driver of the one team say, "I got it." So they're talking to each other, just a little delayed. So right now it looks like blue's having a little bit of an advantage right now, trying to swap out towers, and they do get another. So, but it's going to be really close. This is another one where, again, red has the autonomous, so they just want to break rows, really. Ideally, if they get a row, great, but their most important thing is to get those corners well driven by 288F. He kind of spun around his opponent to get at that corner tower that the opponent was kind of trying to get in the way of. Oh, and their red teammate just misses throwing one in. They get it now. Now they've got it. So they're talking now. Now they're trying to talk. We got 15 seconds left. So they're trying to de-score and score that center, and they just want it not scored. They don't care if somebody... And it looks like blue and red are both trying to get it. The last second, I can't quite see what happened. Who's got it? Blue, unfortunately, it looks like the ball is resting on their robot on that center. If they are touching the ball, it will not count. And it sure looks like it is. I can't tell for sure. Red or blue does have a row, though. So they made up for it. They made up for the autonomous win. It looks like blue might have it because of that row, and then it comes to a straight ball count. And we'll see who wins with that.
That was pretty cool. All right. Let's see a final score on that last one.
Let's see if we get that final score to show up. We'll see if my estimates are correct. 14-15. Wow. Like I said, that one row, red did not break that blue row, and they could not quite make it up. 1 ball difference. All right, so we'll come back over to field 1 here. All right, red quickly throws one in the center. They drive over to the corner to try and get their teammate gets the corner. And now can they get that? Now does their teammate do something in the center, or they just throw an extra one on top? All right. Red gets a win point because they completed their row, plus they get that advantage. Their autonomous control. Now they got an extra ball on top, and red, they kind of messed that up. They threw an extra one on top. That wasn't exactly what they're intending. So now they got to pick up a red ball, throw it in there. They got to get that ball back in the field. Blue grabs the tower, red grabs the tower, blue grabs another tower. So again, you'll see these teams quickly changing control. So red's got to find some balls to figure that corner out. Now they've got one. So the one red team says it's a lot easier and safer if we just throw one in the bottom. So they just pulled the blue out, sped it to the side, and quickly cycled it in. So now they're going to try and change it over. Can they do it? They throw it in, but they can't quite get that ball out. So they're losing a lot of time here. So are they just going to ignore it? They're trying to figure out if they can get it out. And they're trying to ram it in. They can't get it. So what kind of talk do they get? So they've got to talk with their teammate. So they ran across. And they said, we're going to try and get that. Oh, and they cycled too many. Now red's got it. You got no team. The two teams crashing into each other left and right. Blue's trying to take another. Blue gets another, and they're trying to go for that middle. We got 21 seconds left. Red's driving around, getting around them, trying to get... They get another. Red has a big advantage right now in ball count. But blue's got that center. Red now has the center. Now can red hold that center in the final 5 seconds? What can they keep? They played... See, they just got in front of them. That's what they wanted. I see a couple red rows. Looks like 2 red rows plus the autonomous will be enough. Actually, it looks like 3 red rows. So 3 red rows with autonomous will be enough for the win. But we'll put that score up in a second. Let's see what we get. 42-10. Red does indeed get it. We will switch over to field number 2. Oh, I need number 2. There we go. Now I got it just in time for the start. Red throws one in. Their teammate looked like they were going to throw one in, but they didn't. Blue's got 2. Can they get that final corner? Blue does do it, and red would have had their home row, but unfortunately they cycled one too many times and pulled their own ball out. So blue does have a home row and autonomous. So again, those win points rack up later for your seeding. Those are very important. So red quickly tries to shove back that red ball that they had just accidentally pulled out. And they do. Blue team's looking for a blue ball. So that's the one thing. They got 3 balls in the corner from the autonomous, but now they've got 3 balls stuck in that hole. So there's less on the field for them to use. And sometimes they'll de-score, but not always. Now blue's got to pick it up. Their teammates cycling another, and they do. They get that middle just like that. They just kind of drive into it. Red's kind of coming over here, and they do cycle another, but unfortunately blue just was right behind them and took it right back. So red quickly cycles another. Blue takes another. Red takes another. You are seeing very quick cycling. This will be an interesting competition. So that blue autonomous win could be huge for blue, as they seem to be just a little quicker on the draw and changing towers over. So the blue teams are running into each other. So they're coming over here to grab another ball. So that slowed blue down a bit. Can red take advantage of that? It's amazing. Even a 5-second delay like that can really cost teams. See, they ran into each other again. So, but they quickly adjusted that time. That time it only cost them about a second. So that was a much better improvement on it. So then they come over here and they throw another in while red quickly is trying to pick up a ball. So they're leaving that corner. 8 seconds. What do? They're trying to get this corner, and they do get it. Red's trying to cycle it back. They kind of block them. They kind of shove them because they know they can hit them in the final 5 seconds. It looks like red only has 1 tower. So blue will win this one. Blue did a very good job on that. That was a very well done. They ran into each other a couple times, but they made up for it, and they had the autonomous. So we'll see what we get before we switch over to field number 3. They're all agreeing on the scores. So we see that little, look at that, 46-7 blue with the win as we go over to field number 3. You want to announce for a bit? And we'll trade off for a second.
First, I'm going to go in match here. There we go. All right, on field number 3.
You're good to go now.
All right. All right, we're ready on field 3.
Do we have water somewhere?
On the red side, right behind me. All right, on the red side, we have 248E, 2140J. On the blue side, 3547H and 244 Dutch. All right, looks like blue gets Auton and the win point, so that helps with their ranking. Even if they don't win the match, they've got a win point, which raises them in the rankings and brings them closer to being selecting in the finals. All right, robots are moving. All right, red trying to create a row in the bottom of your screen. And they miss. Blue takes out the center at the bottom of your screen. The center goal is still uncontested, except blue is going to take it, and they did. All right, looks like red has a vertical row on the left side of your screen. These goals just change color so fast because these robots are at a high level of play right now. These students have been evolving these robots since October, some of them since June. You see Dutch changing goal. Their goal to blue. Killing off red's left row. And we come to the buzzer. Our crack team of referees are now scoring the field. Each referee has a tablet in which they can input the scores on their goals. Auton went to blue. From where I'm sitting, it's difficult to see if there are any rows that are connected. You folks at home actually have a better seat than I do right now because I get a delay on my camera, which does not help in doing a play-by-play. All right. Looks like 17-9. Blue takes it with Auton and the match. Nice job. So we switch to field 1. All right, win points on both sides. Now it comes down to a ball count to see who actually has the autonomous advantage. right, advantage goes to blue as we set the clock for 1 minute 45 for the driver control. All right, looks like we have 3 Granville teams in this particular match. They're playing moderate at best, an independent team from Troy. Looks like our center tower is blue, while they fight to control the outer towers. Looks like we are getting some defense going on here. If you look in the upper left-hand side of your screen, you don't see too many defensive bots in this particular game. Usually the robots work independently of each other and try to change the colors of the towers, but every now and then the team will get the towers the way they want and then switch to defensive mode, trying to slow their fast-moving opponents. All right, we have 4 extremely quick bots on the field right now, and they are doing some pushing. All right. A hits the corner tower and then comes into the center. So we'll see how this turns out. Our refs are busy counting and tabulating the score. All right, doesn't look like any irregularities going on. Head ref checking to see if a robot is touching a ball. If a robot touches a ball of its own color, that ball does not count toward their score. All right. Head ref looks happy with the score. Meanwhile, I'll switch you to field 2 as Auton begins in match number 29. All right, that's it for Auton. Doesn't look like we have any home rows. Now it's a ball count to see who gets the autonomous advantage. Autonomous is a tie. Went dead.
Oh, we should put a battery on that guy.
I did.
Not plugged in?
Yeah, the thing came out. Somebody bumped it.
Okay.
So we're charging it up.
What match number are we on? We go like 40 before lunch, right?
42.
There we go. All right.
I'm so proud of
The in-match screen didn't come back automatically, so I got us back for you. Sorry about that. We're figuring out the technology as we go. All right. About a minute left in the match. Looks like we have a blue row at the top of your screen. Working on a red row at the bottom of your screen, but there's a little bit of defense going on. All right, red takes the center tower as 74485B finally picks up that ball it's been working on, attempting to D-score the center top tower. All right, rows appear and disappear as these robots move so quickly to change the colors of the towers. very little defense going on as these robots are working independently just to change the colors of the towers as we have 14 seconds left in the match. All right, we have a D-scored center tower. Wow, I'm not sure we have any rows. We have one blue row on your right-hand side of your screen.
50 foot, no. 8 foot?
That may be it, unless
25 foot.
I'm missing something.
25, 10 foot?
Nope. So blue has a row that
14 foot.
autonomous was a tie, so this is going to be, this might be a close one. We'll see. I'm thinking blue with their row may have the advantage.
How many you want?
All right, looks like the teams are satisfied with the score.
So I can get
Let's see if they announce it for us. All right, blue does have it. The score is 18-9. We're going to move you to field number 3.
Okay, send match 32.
There we go.
All right,
Nice cam.
on 3 we go. Let's see, we have this is match number 30, field 3. We have 2140A, 33T on the red side. On the blue side, we have 49615B and 39R.
Excellent.
Let's see before they start if I can see who those teams are. 2140A is out of Hudsonville, or sorry, they are out of Jenison.
Okay.
Let's see, 33T I believe is out of Notre Dame Prep. They are indeed. 49615B is out of Bel Air, and 39R is out of Cranbrook.
Wow.
So let's see what we get. I see red has completed their row.
Oh, man, yeah. We have a win
can't-
point for red.
Quite see that final tower for blue, but it looks like blue completed their row also. Both sides will get a win point, so we'll see here with a ball count on who wins.
Go ask. I will get.
All right, looks like red did indeed win it by 1. So red will have the advantage, but both sides will get a win point. All 4 teams have a win point added to their total. So again, it's that autonomous win. So red with that advantage. So they mostly want to make sure blue doesn't have any more rows than them. If they're even on rows, or if no team has a row, red is perfectly happy. So we'll see what we get. All right. All right, so you're seeing teams talking to each other. They're talking to their drivers, seeing that drive coach talk. We're seeing, don't really see any rows right now going on. But again, red's perfectly happy with no rows. They get no rows, red wins. So blue's got to try and make rows and not let red have any rows. Unfortunately for them, I see a red row right now. I see 2 red rows actually right now. Red's trying to fill up a 3rd red row. Blue just broke one of their red rows. Blue broke the other red row. So can red complete it? Red does. Blue's trying to get their own row. They're trying to D-score a ball, but they managed to jam it in the back of the tower so much they might not be able to D-score that row. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. No one's got that center. We're in the final 8 seconds left. Can somebody get that center tower to cause a problem? Red grabs another row, grabs another tower, which did indeed give them yet another row. So it looks like red's got a couple rows. They've got 2 rows, and that will probably difference, especially since they already had autonomous. So a bit of a difference. We'll wait for that final score to come in. See what we have. They're doing a ball count because the referees want to make sure they get that count correct before they submit it. So So we'll see what we get. It looks like they're in agreement. It looks like they all understand the score.
Hey, we're back.
28-6, red did indeed win that. So luckily for blue, like I said, they did get that win point. We're going over to number 1. All right, we're back for it. Blue gets 1. Blue gets the second tower. Red just missed on their corner. Blue's trying to get that center. Oh, and it spins out. Let's see what we have for a score. It looks like blue will win it. And blue does indeed. I think they're talking, but I think they all agree. All right, drivers ready. They swap it out. So blue finishes or tries to finish that row they're in. They do indeed. Their teammates trying to grab the ball. You see them just back up and whack that ball in. A lot of times that's a much easier way to do it than trying to be fancy and pick one up and throw it in. So that red top, blue was trying to change over that top left corner. They were struggling to get that ball pulled out. Red grabs 2 towers pretty quick. Blue grabs another tower pretty quick. We'll see what they can do. Red's trying to change the tower out. Blue's just going to leave that red one kind of sticking there on the bottom. It's got an extra red ball. You might not be able to see at home. So blue's got to go find a ball. They've got one now. So that's the one issue the conveyor bot has an issue with, is that it takes a little more effort to pull a ball out versus the combine types just kind of cycle the whole tower. So it's a big advantage on speed. So it's just a different robot type, and it depends on how the driver is. So the driver can make up for a lot, but sometimes you can't make up for sheer speed difference. So a little bit better communication there by blue. They changed each other up. Red's gone across that top. They're trying to finish that top row, and they do. Blue drops right in behind him and quickly changes the row back. Red's got that corner. Blue throws one out on the side. Unfortunately for the red, they did throw the ball out, but it didn't matter too much. So 4 seconds. Everyone's just trying to hold on to what they got. It looks like blue has 4 rows right off the bat, maybe 5 rows even. All right, I thought it was a little more even on the tower, but blue did a really good job there at the last 10 seconds to change over 2 towers, and that kind of changed the complexion of the match. So put them at a big advantage. So we'll wait for the final score and see what we get. And in that match, 31 you just saw, on the red side, we have 3547A and 3547A. They are out of Monroe, that is Virus, that is the dark side. Their teammate was out of Cranbrook, and they were against 2 Granville robots. And it's 54-9. Red did indeed win that one. All right, as we come back in time, just for it, red quickly cycles a tower. Red gets the other corner. Blue cycles one, and do they put one in? They do get 2 in. Red even shoves one in the central tower. That was pretty impressive. They slid sideways, so they didn't change it. Red actually has 3 rows right now. That was well done. Red gets the win point also. All right, so let's see what we get. Red races over to the blue side so they can start stripping that tower out. And they change over to blue. Drove over. One blue team stayed on their home row to follow the red teams. The other went over to the blue side, or to the red side, to change it back. So now you're seeing these teams just kind of trading back and forth towers. You're seeing these change very quickly. So this is where autonomous is going to be so critical. is that autonomous lets teams, they just got to break rows. That's what they want. They need more towers than the other, or they just need a tie because they've got that 6 bonus points. A little bit of crashing and burning. And that's what happens when teams drive into each other. They can get stuck a bit. So you saw that. They both quickly got free. So red with a little too much spin spins that bottom right out. Blue does spin that top one, or that center tower in, no problem. Their teammates gets that center middle. So blue right now is trying desperately to get that row across the top. And they don't have it. Red comes in behind them, and they're trying to take that row back in the final 14 seconds. Can they get it out? They got a ball kind of jammed that's causing problems. So they can't quite get it out. Their teammates just going for a corner because they know they just need to break rows. Blue did get a row, though. This could get to a ball count. Blue got that row. That is critical. Actually, blue has 2 rows. I didn't notice that my view was blocked. Blue got that center row, or center tower. That will give blue 2 rows. That makes up for red's autonomous win. Gives them a 6-point advantage before ball count. So we'll see what we get for a final score. That gives a bit advantage. Looks like blue with a win, but we'll see what the final score is. All right, and they're showing them to the teams, getting them agreed. I'm getting thumbs up. We get a posted score of blue 20, red 16. So blue did come back there at the end and is able to pull that out. We will go over to field number 3. All right, red quickly gets one in the center and the corner. Red gets it in the other corner. Can blue match him? Blue's got him. Blue does match. So let's see, it becomes a ball count now. So looks like blue is +3 on one side. Red is +1 on their side. It looks like blue will get it. Both teams will win a win point. So that's very important for them. All right, blue did indeed win it. So they do add another ball in. We'll see what they get. Red shoves one in the middle on their way by. So like I said, a lot of times it's really nice just to back in. You can just jam one of those balls in quick. You're seeing teams quickly. Reds quickly made up the difference, though, as they have grabbed a ton of towers. They have just quickly transferred 3 towers over. Blue comes, and both teams grab a tower. Red grabs another tower. Now, blue's swapping them out. With how fast these teams are changing towers, you're going to see that what the strategy does at the end real quick. They're playing a bit of bumping, so the blue teams are kind of in each other's way. They fixed that quickly. So now they're grabbing the balls. They're switching them out. Red's got a row across the top. Blue kind of jammed their own ball in the way, but they get it back. Red's following them. They take those 2 corners. So you're seeing both teams kind of going well, they thought they were. Yep, they're going clockwise around the field. Blue is having a little bit of issues in that they've tried to score and they've had it spin out twice. So now they got it in. So they just drive over the corner, jam one in. Nope, they don't jam one in. It spins out again. Their teammates got one down here. Red team's trying to break this corner. So they pull the blue ball out, but unfortunately their ball spins out this time. So blue's got a row across the top. Red's coming to break that quickly. Blue's trying to get this corner down here so that red doesn't have a row, and they break red's row. So you're seeing these teams change quickly. No, that's it. Blue pulls out one row. So I believe blue had the autonomous also. So blue has a row. I do not see a red row. Everybody was going for it. So blue with a row and autonomous. This is looking very good for the blue team. Everyone's counting. Everyone's making sure a robot isn't touching a ball. We'll see what we get. I'm seeing thumbs up from the blue side, so you know they're happy. Red's shaking their head, they acknowledge. So we do indeed blue 18, red 7. So for that match, it was 39K on the blue side with 288D. So 39K out of Cranbrook, 288D out of Granville. Now on the other side, on the red side, we had another Cranbrook team and a Hudsonville team. So we're coming over to field number 1. Let's see what these teams do. Blue pops one in the middle. Their teammate gets one in the corner, and then they cycle. But they cycled one too many times, and they ended up putting a red in the top. And then they missed another. It looks like the red team finished their home row. Red team did indeed finish their home row and wins the Auton. So this is qualification match number 3. You see red kind of split. One went for the side and one went for went over quickly to the other side. Oh, they knocked their own ball out of the center after they've scored it. So blue's trying to hit that corner, trying to take their own balls out of the way. And they also picked up a red ball to get it out of their way, so they had control of it. Red's moving fast, trying to fill towers. So now you see they're playing their strategy in that they want to find out what they're doing. You've got two red teams kind of near each other. Blue's quickly cycling. You've got one blue robot kind of going counterclockwise. You've got one blue robot going clockwise. That's kind of an interesting way of doing it. They met at the same tower. Red's got a ball, so that top left corner, you can see is blue because red couldn't get at it. They actually could not reach. So they're going to have to fix that tower after this match because the ball got underneath their zip ties in there to keep them located, and it looks like it got moved. So blue will maintain that tower probably throughout this match as red can't break it. Red can't reach that ball. So red's got to make sure that they break the rest of that row. So that's kind of a free tower for blue that they can't do anything on. Can blue take advantage? Oh, red threw one out of the field. In the final few seconds, let's see what we get for a final score.
They're on the pit admin table.
I don't think anyone got a row unless that blue team was able to get that center. They were not. So that's why you heard that red team say, don't let them get that center. Because red had autonomous, there is no row scored. That was their goal, was to make sure that blue did not get a row. So in this match, on the red side, we had 248A World qualified out of Granville, 244D Dutch out of Granville. On the blue side, we had 8458A, 8548A is the Technosaurs out of Little Traverse Robotics, and teamed with Traverse was 2140H out of Jennison. They are the monstrosities. All right, 18-7 red. We are switching over quickly to field 2. All right, a little bit late, so we're watching red get 2 towers. Blue has both corners. They're going for the middle. Blue gets it. So blue with the win point, and they get the advantage. So once again, those win points so critical for your final rankings. Blue cycles the tower. Red runs over to the other side and quickly cycles the tower. So they kind of traded sides and quickly traded towers. So we'll see what happens. Blue says we're worried about corners. We're not so much worried about rows because they had the autonomous. So both blue teams came to the same side and they're like, oh wait, we need a ball. So they're kind of, blue ended up knocking a red ball into that central tower just to help out red. So they'll have to fix that later. Red's over here they do get another corner. Unfortunately for them, blue's just following them around and taking the tower back. So this is going to be a how fast can you change it. On the other side, you've got the red team and the blue team kind of trading towers also. So this is where corners in that center are so important. Who can get that center? Right now, blue's got 3 corners. Red's got another corner. Blue's breaking up a red row right now. Red's trying to break a blue row, and they both accomplish that task. Blue's able to grab another. Can somebody in that final 17 seconds, what's going to happen? So blue just kind of pushes red out of the way to break one. Can blue get a tower? Blue does manage to get that center broken up. Red can't get it out of the corner. This will be interesting. Red's touching that red corner, but I see a red row. It looks like we've got 1 red row. So this will be a ball count. Blue does not get a row. Red gets 1 row. Blue had autonomous. Let's see what the ball count comes out to. This is going to be a very close match. So again, showing how important autonomous is. They're counting. Let's see what we get. So red is touching, so they took one of their own out. So this will be interesting. All right, everyone agrees. I'm getting the thumbs up now. Red 15, blue 14. So red came back from losing autonomous, and that 1 ball they were able to get. Blue couldn't cycle that corner out. So we will switch over to field number 3. All right, and there you can see we've got a couple of them. Blue gets all 3 of their towers. Red gets all 3 of their towers. This will be a ball count, but red has all 3 of that top left tower. So they cycled it, and that could be the difference right there. It looks like both teams get a win point, but red wins autonomous. All right, let's see what we get. All right, let's see what we got. Blue just missed trying to throw it in. Now they've got it. Red's got that top row. Red's got their home row. Blue takes that center. Red's adding on to one they already had, but they figured they can. They've got a lot of towers. They're trying to shove it in the middle, and they do indeed, but blue followed them up, and they did take that corner. So they broke 2 rows, just like that. Red's got to come back, and they're going to try and knock that ball out of the corner. Red does take it back. So they're going to try and pick up another ball. Can they pick it? Yep, they've got it. So their teammates, so they've got another one. Their teammates over on the other side trying to pull a ball out of that tower and try and take control of it. They're both looking at the same tower. I don't think they realize they're teammates. But they've got it anyways. So Blue's trying to make up for it. Red's got a lot of towers right now. Blue's got a lot of work to do. They've dropped some out. They've got a corner. That helps. But unfortunately for them, the one they tried to bump them, the red followed it up. Now they took it out. But unfortunately for them, as the match ends, red with 3-4 rows. So won't matter who had autonomous. I think red had autonomous anyways, but red with 4 rows will give them the win. So we'll see what happens. That was qualification match 36 on the red side. We had 4-8-8-4. Nope, sorry. That was qualification match 35, 8-4-5-8-C, 39R. And on the blue side, 288A and 63600A. I think I just read off the wrong match. That was qualification match 37. I wasn't even close. Nope. That was not 37. I'll find out which one it was. It was match 36. I was off by 1. And that was indeed red, 41-4. So 37 match is on field number 1 now. All right. Red gets the center and the corner. Red just misses on the other corner. Blue team gets one corner and the center, but they miss on their other center. So both teams are kind of consistent, but this will be a ball count on this one to see who gets the most. All right, blue gets the autonomous advantage because they cycled the one tower and they pulled the red out. So their teammate quickly tries to take back that corner tower. Red does finish their home rows. So blue's knocking them out. One blue team shot across. Oh, and they had a little too much spin on it. So they just used that bottom piece. You got both red teams here at the bottom. Blue kind of shoves that blue team out of the way as they go by. Unfortunately, they can't stop them, and blue goes over quickly and takes control of that tower. So red takes this corner. And they got enough red balls in their jam. Now can they reach it? They get that top right corner. Their teammates struggling a little bit. Their intake's having a little bit of issues. The reds on the blue on their home row side trying to fill that row, and they've got it. They missed the one corner though. So blue follows it over. Now each team's on the opposite side's row, trying to work on that. One of the blue team robots looks like it's having a little bit of issue, but they got it figured out now. So they knock a ball out and then they put it in. So this will be an interesting score right now. Right now, red's got a row. Nope, red just lost the row. Blue had a row. Red took it out. Red's got a row now. They've got that bottom row. But blue's taking that top row. Blue breaks one, but can blue break a row quick enough? I don't think blue's paying attention to the fact they don't have that red has a row on the bottom. They were not. They did not notice that red had a row. Red picked up another row also. So it looks like that was a big advantage for red right there. They picked up 2 rows, so they will make up for that autonomous. All right, in match 37, Red did come back and win that 18-11. So they did those second row. They got that last row in the last 2 seconds, and that was a big difference. So we will move over to match 38 here on field number 2. All right, this will be qualification match 38. I have time. I can actually read off the teams. On the red side, we have 3223F. They're out of West Michigan Aviation Academy, the Potatoes. Their teammate is 4911A. That is high voltage out of Michiana, Niles, Michigan. On the blue side, 74485B. That is Perpetual out of Benzie, Central Senior High School. And their teammate is 288C. That is Nerd Herd out of Granville. Blue team gets both corners. Red team gets both corners. Red team's going for that center, and red gets it. Blue gets it. All right. It looks like we're going to have an autonomous tie, but both teams with a home row. So they get their win points. And it starts out, each team gets 3 points. We're dead even. It's going to be on the driver. And there they go. So red takes the tower quickly, or blue takes the tower quickly. Red, so both blue teams rocket over to the red side. Blue teams go rocking over to the red side. Oh, okay. That one's having a little issues. That field over there, that top left corner tower is having a little bit of issues. That could be a big advantage for red coming through. We'll see what happens. Oh, red's having a little bit of issue with their robot, and that the arm was, the tension, they're using rubber band tension, and it wasn't enough, so it was actually moving itself out of the way. We got two teams kind of fighting for a tower, and blue cannot get it. So they kind of ram the other robot. Let's see if they can get this one. They can't quite get it. So playing a little bit of defense. Like I said, it's not very common for teams to play defense. And they're just kind of bashing them out of the way. Red's down with one team scoring and one team playing defense. So they move away after they get a count. They quickly move. Looks like their teammate, so...
Which one's running out? 38? Yeah, 38.
So this is kind of an interesting thing that's going on, in that the team was playing defense, but unfortunately for them, their partner is completely stuck on that bottom left one. I see one row. Blue's got a row. Blue does not have a row. Red has a row. Red got that center one in, and that gave red a row, and it broke two blue rows. That looks like will give red the advantage. We'll wait for the final score. So in spite of 3223F getting stuck on the field element, they were still able to pull this one off, it looks like. We'll wait for confirmation. And it looks like they're agreeing. 20-14. All right, and we will go to our next match on field number 3. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong match. I'm on field 1. Let's get over to field 3. That'll work much better. All right, red quickly throws one in that center. Blue throws one in the corner and one in the center. Red does finish their row, and they cycled a couple out, so red gets their home row. Blue cycles, and they get a home row. This will be a ball count. It'll be pretty close. Looks like that blue's got one jammed in that corner also. So they've got one shoved in, so they'll have... That could be that difference in that they've got an extra one jammed in the bottom. If it counts, head referee's double checking. It looks like it does. So that means there are actually three blue balls and one red ball in that bottom right corner. So that could be the difference. All right, both teams got a win point. And blue will win autonomous. They were +5. Red was +4 by one ball. That ball shoved in that bottom right corner is the difference. Red quickly cycling. Blue's quickly cycling. They're kind of trading sides, as you'll see a lot here. You'll see blue and red kind of crash into each other. Blue takes another tower. Red's trying to get that ball out of that center, and they've jammed it way into the back. I'm surprised blue touched it, because now that ball was jammed in the back. Now red can actually get at it and change it over. So blue probably didn't want to touch that ball. So now blue goes to the corner. There's a lot jammed in that tower is the problem. Because there's so many balls jammed in the tower, it actually can be very difficult to get a ball out of the tower. So now they've got them in, but the problem is now they got it. So red in the meantime's going across that top row, and they've got two of them. Blue's throwing another on top of one they already had. So, but now they go to one they don't have. Red gets that middle. Blue's trying to get this bottom left, and they do end up getting it. So right now, I see one blue row. Blue's looking for a ball. Now they got one. They're trying to find one that they can score. So they're trying to break up rows, and they do. Blue's got the autonomous. That's a pretty big advantage. The two blue robots ran into each other. So red's decided, I'm going to take this center if I can. They can't quite get it. Red's bumping them. I don't think they want to. They might score it for them. So we've got 3 seconds left. 2, 1. Blue at the last second threw one in that bottom right corner, and that gave them a row. That looks like blue had the autonomous to begin with. Now they're checking to see if robots are touching. So blue's got 2 rows. That looks like it'll be enough since they had the autonomous to begin with. We'll get our final score here in a minute. So in this qualification match, red is 33T and 2140J. And on the blue is 3547A and 248C. We'll get our final scores here in a moment. Blue 27, red 6. All right, so we'll move over to field number 1. They are ready to go. And we got to find where the mouse is. There's our pointer. Just in time for the start. All right. Blue just misses on one corner. Red's trying to feed it in their corner and the center. Blue misses twice. Red's trying to get it in. Red totally cycles out their bottom left corner. Red also completes their home row. Red will have the autonomous. So one of those critical win points. All right, let's see what happens. Blue corrects that one center tower they missed, but they want that ball back, and they cycle out the red ball. That takes a little extra time. So, and in this case, it might not be worth it, but they quickly grab it. Red does indeed grab that center tower. Little pushing and shoving. Red's both going for the same towers. They don't want to be doing that. Red just misses filling up that top left corner. I see a lot of red towers, but blue's quickly changing over a couple. So you've got the one red team. They're not really following each other wrong. You've got two kind of these paddle intake. Nope, you've got one paddle intake and one long intake. So they're faster. What they do is they just de-score, and then they kind of throw them out of the way. So it's kind of interesting how they both work. Red throws two more in that center. Then they get that bottom row. Blue's trying to make up. Red's got a bit of an advantage going right now. They cycle another out, but unfortunately while they're cycling, their teammate, though, quickly empties that middle tower, or that central tower. They do not want red having that. So right now, red's trying to see where they're going. What they can do, they kind of... Red's trying to shove one in. Blue bumps them just at the last second to break it up from getting it. Blue's broken that bottom left corner. Can red get a row? No. They're coming to a corner. And blue does get a row. That could be critical. Red's touching that center, I think. So that, no, blue's touching that center red ball. I think blue might have come back and won that one, because it looks like they've got more balls on the field also, or in the towers. So even though red had autonomous, they got two rows, and that's probably the difference. Or one row, but that one row is probably enough with the ball count advantage. We'll see what we get here. Wait for that final score. It's going to be close. This looks like it could be a 1-point difference. Everyone's trying to count. They want to make sure what they do is they double check everyone agrees on the numbers before they submit it. And it looks like everyone's in agreement. 11-10, it is a 1-point win. All right, so we're going to have to do a little bit of field maintenance here in a second, because they actually got to locate the ball. Otherwise, the ball can jam in the bottom of the corner. So again, we're still a little bit of field fix. We'll probably need about another minute or so while they fix them. Oh, maybe not. They already got it fixed. She's so fast, she got it done already. All right, autonomous, here we go. Blue throws one in the middle. Their teammate cycles all of them, but luckily they left that red on top. Blue's got a home row done.
We do have a home row over here. It's one side, the red one on top of the ball at the top. Ring, so that doesn't count.
So we're having a little bit of issue in that they're driving. All right, looks like Blue has autonomous. We'll see what's going on. All right.
We have autonomous advantage to the blue alliance. Win point goes to the blue alliance. So the third guy going 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, here we go. Blue with the win point and the autonomous advantage. So one just picks up that blue on the way. So you're seeing what they can do. They're trying to kind of in the way of each other. So we'll see what's going on. So they're playing a little bit of defense or more just kind of running into each other. Blue just kind of does a strafing drive-by to shove one in that center tower. And then they drop one there and they go. See, now they're going to find a blue just to be able to throw it in there. So it looks like one of the red teams is trying to play a little bit of defense. Not that it seemed to matter too much, as they still were able to score. So that team is going defense, which, like I said, it doesn't help you too much to have defense in this game. But because they kind of jammed into the blue robot, they did cause the blue robot to miss. So now they've got that robot pinned. So, like I said, you don't normally see defense, but you are seeing it in this match, which is kind of different. So you see how they're calling out. They're trying to talk. They're trying to say what they're going to do. So they got away from them. So you see 244A was able to get away from 30. Oh, but 30 bounced them just enough to break up their attempt. So the one robot's playing a little bit of defense, trying to keep that blue robot, and they can't stop them from scoring that. So they're just holding on to it. They're like, we're just going to get in the way. Oh, and they don't touch. Red knocked their own out. So we'll see what the final score is. The blue one is good, so that gives them an extra 2 rows. So red with just the one tower, it looks like. So blue will win this. They had the autonomous advantage also. So we'll see what happens. All right, and there it is. Blue with a big win, 54-6. In that match, you had 288F and 244A, Goblins and Viper out of Granville. On the other side, you had team 63600C, Way out of Grand Rapids. Oh, and we're back. I'm trying to read the names, and they're already going to the next match. So blue gets both the center and that corner. Red, unfortunately, they cycle so much they actually put a blue back in on both cases, and they spun another out. But blue completed their row. So red just kind of did a little too much work on that one. Blue will get a home point and a win point and the home row for the autonomous win. All right, red's trying to make up for it by see what they can come back. All right, red's got a couple there driving over, and they get a corner quick because the corner breaks the most rows. Then they drive, and they're moving counterclockwise. They're just keeping that going and going right around the corner. So that's their goal, is to try and be Oh, they can't quite get it. Blues come back over behind them. They're going clockwise, and they're pulling the towers back. So it's interesting to see this arrangement, who scores what, how they go. Red's trying to pick up balls as they go across. The blue team, or one of the red teams, just had 3 balls that were blue, and they just threw them all in the middle of the field to get them in the way. Red just misses again, but they get one there on that right side. Everyone's kind of leaving that middle tower alone. Blue grabbed it quick. So you're seeing how fast on that bottom that blue is changing towers back, red's changing towers back. So we're seeing what happens. I think our color's not quite keeping up based on what I'm seeing. So blue's almost got that row across the top. We got the red teams trying to break rows, and they do. But unfortunately for red, blue has the autonomous, so they've got to make up for that. So they've got to score at least a row and not give blue a row. Look at that. Just like that, blue has one spin out, red has one spin out of that center. So that center tower is the most difficult in general to score on. And we are seeing that hold true. Right now, red's come back big time. Oh, wow, that was a big change. Blue broke 1 row, but that is a big advantage for red. As red has 2 rows right off the bat. So red looks like they did make up for that loss of autonomous with a very good match. It looks like they're ahead on balls also. It's kind of hard to see at some point, but no center ball was very important for the blue team, because if red had gotten a hold of it, it would have been 2 rows. 3 rows. It would have been 3 additional rows. So it looks like red will win. We'll wait for our final number, and there it is, our final qualification match of the morning. Red 23, blue 14. I can take the time to actually say who was in this match. On the red side, we had 2140H, the Monstrosities out of Jenison, and 244B, Is It Eventually, out of Granville on the red side. On the blue side, we had 65456Z, the Basket Boys out of Traverse City, and 39R Parallax out of Cranbrook and Bloomfield Hills. All right, we're going to find a commercial, and we'll come back in a little bit. Oh, we are going to sign off. I forgot, due to trying to keep a 2-hour limit on our downloads. If you would please go out at 1 o'clock, we will start the feed for the afternoon session of the qualification matches for the state of Michigan. So thank you all very much. I hope everything came through loud and clear, and that the pictures were pretty good and we didn't come too late for too many of them. Thanks again, and we'll see you this afternoon. Have a good day.